Do you know someone who's in an abusive relationship or a toxic relationship and you think, well, they haven't left, so it must not be that bad? I want to clear up that misconception right now. A lot of people feel totally trapped in the relationships. I even had one of my coworkers say to me one time, I don't think you really want to leave your husband because you would have done it already. Please never say that to somebody who's in an abusive relationship. There are so many moving parts involved. I turned to her immediately and probably should have cooled off a little bit, but I said, okay, all right, so I leave my husband, I take my kids, and I'm staying with a friend. But I'm now the primary breadwinner. I still need to make money. I still have to go to work. My kids still have to go to daycare. I drop them off at daycare. There's no protective orders in place. There's no upcoming divorce because I can't afford it. He can just go pick up my kids, disappear with them, and now I don't know where any of them are. What do I do now? So there's a lot of moving parts there. A lot of people feel like they can't leave for financial reasons because they can't afford to live on their own. A lot of the times the abuser has sort of worked themselves through a whole process, sometimes even through a number of years, to where they have the ultimate control. A lot of times there's financial abuse where they won't allow their partners to make more money. And if they do make money, then they control how much that person can spend. They may have access to their accounts or a credit card. They can use their money. They can make sure that their partner does not have a lot of extra money to save up just for something like this, particularly if the abuser's been doing this for a number of years. He's already established, I say he, I'm assuming both men and women do this. The abuser already has established a pattern that works for them, and they're going to continue doing it. And they know that controlling finances is a very, very critical part in controlling their partner. But finances are only one element. And this is another reason why I don't always say, like, you don't necessarily do a GoFundMe or throw a bunch of money at somebody who wants to get out. Once somebody has gotten themselves out and you can see that, all the wheels are in motion, they have a protective order, they filed for divorce, like, all right, they're going for it, by all means, offer to help them out. I had a lot of people who helped me out. I wouldn't have been able to do it without them. I had people who offered to pay my bills, who brought me groceries, and that was absolutely unbelievably helpful. And I am so grateful I had those people in my life. But I will say, if I had someone who had come to me before I did all of my work up here to change my mindset to where I knew that I was a survivor, not a victim, somebody could have handed me all of the money in the world to go get my own house and escape, and I might have gone running right back. A lot of victims can do that because it's hard. It's hard being away from someone that you have supposedly been in love with for years. And that's the sad thing, is because the victims do love their partners. They don't realize that their partners are actually incapable of truly loving them back. It's just part of the narcissistic reality. We are not loved by narcissists. We are possessions that they appreciate, and sometimes they can even have pseudo-empathy where they can pretend to love or feel compassion. But when the negative emotions come up, then that's just an inconvenience. So a lot of the times victims will want to leave, they'll want to get out, and they may even get out and then they go running back because of finances, their lack of security, they miss their partner, or especially if they become a single parent, it's just really hard to do that all on your own, especially all of a sudden. And a lot of victims get scared too of being independent. They've had this control, over them for years. They haven't been able to make their own decisions. Sometimes they haven't even been allowed to talk to certain friends or family. So they may be afraid that once they leave, once they walk through that door, they're not going to have any help anymore. The only person in their world is the one that's been gaslighting and manipulating them. And so even though they know, part of them knows they need to get away, they're too scared and unsure about how to make it on their own. What do they do when this person who's been the center of their whole world is gone? And a lot of times they don't have the strength, the fortitude to keep that up, and they don't have the belief in themselves, the self-confidence in order to recreate these new identities. So that's why I always feel like the first step to escape is all done in your head. You need to regrow that self-love, that self-esteem, that self-confidence so that you know that you can get out and be a survivor. And so that's why a lot of victims they feel stuck, they're trapped, and they don't leave, even though part of them knows that they really need to. So if you do know someone in an abusive relationship, please try to exercise compassion. And I know how hard it is. And being on the other side of it and like just seeing how wonderful it is to be free is amazing. And you just want everybody to be able to get to that space of freedom and happiness and find a partner who actually values you. But they have to do the work. So just love them, be supportive. If they ask for help, give it in a way that it doesn't affect you, because you still have to, be aware. You still have to take care of yourself. If you need to, set boundaries. I don't really like the victims who do nothing but whine and complain. If they need to vent, and it's a great thing if you can be there to sort of be that reality check for victims. If they can run something by, like, hey, my partner did this, and then they said that I was ridiculous for getting offended at that. Is that right? Or would you have been offended at that? It is absolutely fantastic for victims to have a sounding board, but you do not have to listen to them whine and complain over and over. I had a friend who was just saying, you can whine and complain to me once about your problem. All of the conversations after should be about solutions. Thank you, Maddie. That was fantastic. And I totally agree. So that's why victims get stuck, and those are some great things that you can do to help. Have a great day.